Okay, so in this past week or so, Deepseek have upended the AI market with release of their R1 model, and it's all completely open source, so we can download it and run it on our own systems, and I'm going to test that now. So basically what I'm going to test is what level of R1 can I run on my home PC. I'm going to give it a pretty simple prompt. I haven't changed any settings or anything, and we'll see what happens. We're going to try this with 3 levels of model and just see how it functions, how quick it is, and what sort of response I get. So I haven't changed any settings. This is all completely default within what I'm using, and that is Olama, as you can see, and I am running the Page Assist Chrome extension in Chrome, so I can use it in this user interface, and we'll see what we get. Now, what prompt I'm going to give is to do with exercise training plans. Obviously, not everybody needs that, but it's something that AI is notoriously terrible at doing. I am going to be trying this with the 8 billion parameter model, the 32 and the 70 billion parameter model. The 671 billion is never going to run on my home PC, obviously not in a million years. So I'm pretty happy that the 8 will work. I don't know about the 32, and I suspect the 70B might be a bit slow. The PC this is being run on has got on it a Ryzen 5950X. It's got 128 gig of RAM, and it's got a Nvidia workstation graphics card with 20 gig of RAM. Basically, that's the kind of system we're running it on. If you don't know how to set this up, I did do a video on setting all this up to run open source models, which will come on the screen now. If you can see if you can run them on your home PC. So let's get cracking with this very quick test. So essentially, I'm after a 16-week training plan for a half-distance triathlon, and then, as you can see there, sort of 9 sessions a week with my current base, what I currently do, and I want to ramp that up to my peak weeks of 12 to 13 hours before a taper, and then I've asked it to provide it in a certain format. So that's what we're going to run, and all we're going to do is see how it performs. So let's start. We've got a Deepseek R1 8 billion parameter model set up, and let's see what happens. It doesn't tend to think a lot, so. Okay, so thought for 19 seconds, and we have got 16-week plan. So in those 14 seconds, basically, that's its reasoning, what it was thinking about, and its conversation with itself, while it was deciding what to give us, the user, in terms of our training plan that we have got down below. Not sure it's kind of given anything there that's really usable in terms of a training plan, to be honest, which I didn't expect it to. So start off, the weekly structure is completely got wrong, because we've asked for 3 swims, 3 bikes, 3 runs, and we've got 2 swims, 2 bikes, 2 runs, I think. Swim, bike, run, yeah. And then it hasn't really done anything in terms of useful training days, because you've got, for instance, there, you got week 8, swim 400 repeats, like that. I'm guessing you do that for both swimming days, and then the bike. So that's completely, in terms of its output, that is completely useless. Okay, let's move on to our next model and see how that performs. So this is the 32 billion, and we're going to do exactly the same prompt, and we'll see how quickly it does it and what kind of answer we get. Okay, so 43 seconds thinking. As you can see, it seems like the model has definitely understood the prompt a lot better, so that's quite interesting. And it's not actually, it's not super fast, but it's not by any means slow. So the thinking for 32 seconds, this is its conversation with itself while it's deciding what it wants to present me, and that's its reasoning, deciding what it wants to do before it goes on and presents us with the plan. It's done exactly what I've asked it to do. So Monday swim, swim bike run. It's introduced bricks, which is what you do when you introduce 2 sports back to back, which is quite interesting. The other one obviously completely ignored that, although it's only done it for 2 weeks. So let us ask it to, I don't know why I put please, but I always do for some reason. Maybe I don't want the AI overlords. I want to be looked upon kindly when they take over, possibly. So There you go, 32 seconds, and it's going to extend the plan, typing itself out pretty quickly. Okay, so I probably wouldn't use this, but it is giving some detail. It's not got it fully correct, but I am quite impressed that it's actually at least thought about the instructions I've given it, and it's come up with a lot of sort of technical information in terms of the type of different structured workouts you can do. So that's quite impressive. That was certainly a lot better than the 8 billion parameter model by quite some margin. So let's try now the final one. I'd be surprised if this runs on the PC, but I guess that's what we're finding out. So we're now running the 70 billion, and it's doing its, not even started thinking yet, it's just processing it, I guess. So let's look at the task manager, and while it's thinking, it's still thinking, and we're using 71% CPU, 29% of the memory, and then 30% GPU, which I find interesting. I thought that would be up near 100%. And those processes are all pretty much Olama doing its thing. So if we click down the drop down for the thinking, it's been thinking for quite some time what it's doing. This is its reason, this is trying to work itself out what it wanted to give us. So as you can see there, that's what it's doing, and it's doing it really slowly. So that suggests to me that this is kind of slightly above the limit of what I can run on this PC with those specs. Obviously you want to run the maximum you can, so I can run the 32 billion quite comfortably. You may be slightly lower depending on what kind of spec machine you got. So we'll let this one finish to see what it gives us. It might take some time, so I'll come back to it. Okay, so the initial thought process for the 70 billion parameter model was 8 minutes, as you can see, and that is its conversation with itself while it's figuring out what it wants to do and how it wants to present the plan. That was the 8 minutes of thinking. And then we've got week 1, week 2, week 3. We've got swim sessions. We've got a brick in there. And we've got endurance run intervals and recovery jog. So there are 3 sessions per week. Endurance ride, brick session, and high cadence intervals. Endurance, drills and sprints, and technique. So it's actually given me the 3 sessions per week. All the different phases that you'd get: building endurance phase, increasing intensity, blah de blah, and then down to the taper. And interestingly, it thought for another 8 minutes, which I didn't ask it to do. It did it again, and then you can see it's sort of thinking about some of the terminology, and it's having a conversation with itself in terms of what it wants to achieve and present to me, the user, and it's currently still going. So I mean, that has been now going for nearly an hour, and it's still thinking, certainly 50 minutes. So you can use the 70 billion parameter model on this particular PC, but you've got to be really patient because it's really slow. However, if you have got time and there's something that you do need the reasoning with, obviously you need the best model you can get. That's maybe worth the trade-off for the time. Just let it think and leave it and go and do something else. So that's quite interesting. But I'm going to stop that now. The higher you go up with the parameters, the better the model is. That's just common sense. And on this PC, like I say, you can run the 70 billion parameter model if you're really patient and you've got something that you definitely need the 70 billion parameter model for. Although, however, the 32 billion parameter model runs actually pretty well. So I'm going to use this, and I will be using the 32 billion parameter model. I may use a 70 if I really get stuck, but generally speaking, I'll stick with the 32 billion parameter model, see how it performs, and obviously I can then compare it against OpenAI and Claude Online and all the rest of it. So, and obviously you have the option of using Deepseek Online anyway. So that's it. Yes, you can run R1 on a computer at home. It really depends on the level of accuracy and depth you need and the specs of your system. So hopefully you found that useful. I certainly did. I think it's quite an interesting thing to do. Maybe could do with some different prompts in terms of maybe doing it with some maths test or some puzzles or something, but it certainly gave me some food for thought in terms of what I can run on my machine. So with that being said, we'll finish it there, and I will speak to you in the next video.